Hello. This is now number 8 of the videos about the paintings and the sutra and the Yoga Sutras. The paintings are from my book, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, a visual meditation, book 1. We are dealing with book 1 of the 4 books of the Yoga Sutras, Samadhi Padaha, on Samadhi. We are now at Sutra number 32 in book 1. And in this video, I'm only going to talk about that one. We're actually at some really important sutras, and the ones leading up to it, where we had Ishwari Pranidhanadva, after a whole list of things you could do, or you could surrender to Ishvara, God. Again, God being a placeholder for a being, the beingness of pure awareness. And then some discussion about the nature of Ishvara, and then how we connect to Ishvara. What is Ishvara? Om is the sound that both is and connects us to Ishvara. A cat here requiring some attention. Then Om moves us closer to Ishvara and removes all obstacles. In the last 2, we talked about the obstacles. And now we move on to this one, Yoga Sutra 132. Tat prashide dartam eka tattva vyasaha. So this has been translated various different ways. It helps to focus on one thing. So this is in terms of removing the obstacles, and that can be the one thing could be Om. It helps to focus on the one pure truth is another translation. But either way, the word abhyasa, practice, comes. So the idea is that it helps to practice, to have a steady, regular practice of focusing on one thing, or on the one pure truth. It helps to practice that. Really, that is the core of what yoga is, the practice of connecting to pure awareness, to the point where we become established in it, where we no longer identify with the mind and body, and not that we still have them, we still work with them, we still are ourself, and we still do what we have to do, and we still enjoy living our life, but we understand that beneath the one pure truth, the one thing that exists above and beyond all else, is that is the substratum of our existence, is awareness, and that is our true nature, and that is the one pure truth that we connect to. Now, in the following sutras, it does give some examples. If you should translate it as it helps to focus on one thing, the following sutras give you some helpful ideas for living and generally choosing one thing to focus on, and some possible one things that you could focus on that would be helpful. And as we'll see, in the end, almost anything will do if it enlivens your spirit. But the point is to choose one thing. It's also been said that this can be another sort of surrender to God, that to focus on one thing, to have a practice of one thing, to trust that this is taking you there, and that you do the work and leave the fruits of the effort to God. All of these are valid, all of them are helpful, and the following sutras are extremely helpful in terms of mentioning some one thing ideas that you could focus on. In terms of a practice of focusing on the one truth, the truth of awareness as the substratum of our being is the most powerful truth that you could pick to focus on. And there's many different ways to connect to that. As you see, there's a book that I found really, really helpful by a man named Colin Drake called it's the End of Mental. Here it is. Beyond the Separate Self, the End of Anxiety and Mental Suffering. And he talks a lot about understanding the nature of the substratum of our being, that if you think about it, in fact, everything that exists in your life, you think of it as one whole, your life, but really it's separate, discrete events that we patch together to create a full story. But really, it's just, our life is just experiences. And we are here to enjoy those experiences, to have those experiences, not to create just one story, but to enjoy each experience, to be in the present. We are aware. If you think of it, you don't have to work at being aware. You are always aware, whether you want to be aware or not. You may wish not to be aware. You may be unhappy. You may be angry. You cannot choose not to be aware. You may choose to try to suppress your feelings, but your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, you are effortlessly aware of what it's like to pick up a piece of paper, uh, having a sneeze, sneezing, the experience of fear. These are things that you don't have to work at. I was saying, without effort and without choice, we are we are aware. You can't even think, oh well, I don't know if that's true. I mean, you would be aware of your thoughts. You don't have to try. You don't have to choose. Sometimes you can choose what you're going to pay attention to, but you don't have to choose to be aware. You don't have to choose to hear. You can try to block out sensations or thoughts or sounds or feelings, but you don't have to choose to feel them. It's there, always available. And this awareness, whatever the content of the awareness is, whatever you think or feel, these things rise and fall continuously, but awareness itself is always present and is unaffected by what the particular thoughts are. One day you may be angry, and then the next day you may be happy. The awareness is still the same. You are still aware. That awareness is constantly feeding or creating experiences. You are constantly experiencing something. And the awareness is the one thing that is continuous throughout all experiences, throughout every single one of your experiences and everyone's experience, everyone and everything's experience. The substratum of all existence is this awareness of different things at different times that change continuously. So the more you can learn, the more you can practice focusing, identifying with that substratum, with the fact of being aware of whatever it is that comes up, of the constantly shifting, that you are the awareness. And then you are connected to everything that exists, because that awareness exists everywhere, in all things. And it is free of any particular identity. It takes on no identity of the different things that come up, because everything comes up and comes down. It's always changing, and it itself is always there. This is Ishvara. This is awareness. This is our true nature. And that's the point, the one thing to identify with, that if you can identify with that, then while your body and mind are still there and still functioning, you are no longer their slave. You are no longer caught up in the endless cycle of trying to be something or do something or achieve something, or trying to create some story of the little you, your life, that you want it to be. Suddenly, each of those things is interesting or fun or its own thing that you might do. But the real truth of existence is awareness, and everything that happens is a miracle. It's amazing. It's astounding. That is the point of yoga. To be grounded in, to stand in, to occupy the place of identifying with awareness, and not identifying with the body and mind and all of its continual varying different desires. If you can do that, you don't need any of the Yoga Sutras before or after. And really, truly, that's the only point. That's the most important thing to remember. All these other things, they're all practices. They can all be helpful. If they're not helpful, then you don't do them. Because the real point is to connect to the substratum of all existence, which is that we are that awareness. All right, we will move on to Yoga Sutra 33 and onward from there. There are some wonderful sutras coming up with some lovely, lovely ideas about how to connect to that state of being.